afternoon. Very pleased to welcome Engineer Illias Abdo, CEO of Hydropower in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much for being with us. Hydropower is basically a long-standing company in Abu Dhabi and with expansion into Saudi Arabia.
Correct.
Would you please tell us more about your company and your sustainability strategy?
So Hydropower Energy, as you mentioned, based in Abu Dhabi, expanding into Saudi Arabia currently. Our main business is energy and infrastructure. So
including water.
Of course, water is one of our main business aspects. And we have been doing this business for nearly 50 years now. So we have a long-standing record and background in this field. In terms of sustainability, we have implemented a lot of strategies lately. Of course, sustainability being the buzzword of our industry at the moment.
Yeah, so it's all about implementation, to be honest.
Absolutely, absolutely. People today, I think the definition of the word sustainability has become a bit feeble. So I think we need to firm up about what we can do in our industries with regards to this word. From our perspective as an EPC contractor working in this field, for us, we have to always optimize our internal processes. This is where it starts. So it starts basically with me, where for me, environment is an important subject. Going green and ensuring that we do things in a proper way is something which is
What are the top 3 elements?
For us, I mean, we have a, I will give you some examples of some of the initiatives that we take. So we have a big plant and equipment fleet. So this fleet obviously needs to be optimized. We need to measure their emissions. We need to ensure that we try and reduce the footprint that they create in terms of carbon emissions. So these are things. So we keep modernizing our fleet. We keep ensuring that we implement technologies to our fleet in order to reduce emissions as much as we can. So this is one major aspect. Second aspect is that on a lot of our working sites now, we are going to hybrid scenarios of producing energy and trying to power these different projects. So we've implemented a lot of solar. In fact, we've implemented solar panels on all our projects now.
Great.
So this provides.
That's in Abu Dhabi.
In Abu Dhabi, yes. The problem that we face, obviously, which is the challenge of the century, is the energy storage. So absolutely. So that's why it's a hybrid. So we can use it within certain hours. Within other hours, we have to rely on traditional ways of powering a lot of these. So these are the sort of things that we, as a company, are implementing internally.
When it comes to contracting, it comes up to my mind definitely procurement and best practices in this regard. What are the criteria that you are basically applying as a company when you are bidding to some big deals that you will be bidding for?
You know, it is a lot of our clients today are basically pushing us to give them our sustainability plan, for example. So we have a sustainability plan, but what we see is that the industry is going more in the area of trying to evaluate ICVs and content from that perspective. What we would like to see is that maybe possibly in the future that we will have the ICV process itself having a sustainability angle.
Do you see this coming in the foreseeable future?
Yes, I believe.
Are there efforts in this regard?
I'm not sure. I don't have that visibility, but I'm sure somebody somewhere must be thinking about this.
I mean, because this would be a big change.
Absolutely. I mean, from our perspective, we try to reuse a lot of material. A lot of building materials are reused building materials whenever possible, without compromising, of course, your quality. So we try and implement aspects like this in order to have the sustainability drive.
Knowledge sharing is crucial in this aspect, in this world, amid all the technology boom all across. What are you basically applying in this regard, and what are you planning to apply for example, from the rest of the world, especially modern EU, England, UK, Singapore, the United States?
I mean, as a company, we're big on water, so we do a lot of water projects. Currently, water reuse is a big subject. So this is the hot potato of our time.
What is the percentage of water reuse?
I wouldn't be able to give you an exact figure. Maybe 10%, I would say, top of my head, which is reasonable. It's not a bad number. Significant amount. Yes. That could be improved significantly, and I think there are a lot of initiatives to do that.
What are the obstacles of using?
The obstacles are technology. So we have partnered with people in Singapore to do polishing plants, for example. So
that's very important. Would you please tell me more about it?
Singapore are quite advanced. They have one of the largest polishing plants in the world.
Absolutely.
We've tried to try and work with them to bring some of the technology and some of the knowledge they have in order to implement it here.
Yes.
The challenges you have is that you need to define what your water is reused for, because the content of water, it might have a lot of chemicals, heavy metals that you need to clean, and a lot of these processes are very expensive. So if you want to use it for agriculture, it's very difficult. Because
it's not feasible.
It's not feasible. So maybe you need to have an industry drive where there is an expansion of industry that needs that water, that is not sensitive to this type of content. And then you can reuse the water.
Do you think that the Singaporean model would work and would be applied in the UAE?
In Singapore, they have a lot of heavy industries. So heavy industry is not, if the water has heavy metals, it's not a problem for them. For us, here in the UAE, we don't have that level of, we have certain industries that...
Especially in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, for example, the steel industry can reuse it and so on. But we are seeing a big expansion in that area. And I feel that in the next 10 years...
It's a segment for you that you are...
Absolutely.
Green finance, as you know, within the 1 trillion dirham pledge announced at COP28, it's a huge money. So how can we basically drive banks to help your sector and subsector while they are focusing on other sectors, as we know?
I mean, we touched on it just now. Water reuse. Water reuse is going to be one of the major subjects.
Do they see the ROI in this regard?
I think they're going to start seeing that.
How can we let them see the ROI?
I think once there's an industry drive that we need that cheaper water, and that maybe the economics of a lot of these industries will change because of this. So this is an area.
So water is something.
Water is definitely an area, and obviously the circular economy is as time goes by, the circular economy is growing and growing at UAE, and we are seeing a lot of examples of that, even in our own industries.
What are the top 2 elements, for example, within your industry?
I think building material reuse is definitely...
but it remains very scarce at this point, unfortunately.
I think it's sporadic. I think there's a lot of it happening, but maybe not documented. But a lot of people are working on this, and I think there's a big drive in the industry for the reuse of building materials.
The second point?
The second point, as I said, water reuse and optimizing how we use our water is going to be a key element. And what we saw, the floods which happened in the last couple of months, I think this has also...
This is a great point. Do you think that most of those projects, infrastructure, anti-flood, basically drainage system will be basically funded by this green finance?
We saw the damage that has caused.
Absolutely.
If the implementation of the infrastructure projects to try and avoid this in the future is not implemented, then this damage is going to become annual, with the changing weather patterns that we are seeing over the last few years globally. So I think these are going to be major drivers. I mean, can you think of the losses of the insurance companies in that week?
Absolutely.
If this can be, I don't have a figure, but it must run into the billions of dirhams. And if this infrastructure is implemented, obviously this can be avoided.
Data is a very important point to drive sustainability, and one of the main obstacles within the sector is the lack of data, because it's quite fragmented. How can we improve the accumulation of sustainability data in your sector?
I think one of the major points that needs to happen, it has to be legislation driven. If legislation drives the fact that I have to report my data and others have to report the data, then there can be consolidation of information. But at the moment it's fragmented. We have certain data, I'm sure other companies have certain data, but there is no common ground to try and bring this data and consolidate it. I think legislation is going to be the driver for this.
Mr. Illias, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for your time.